Richard Burton, CBE, was a Welsh stage and cinema actor noted for his mellifluous baritone voice and his acting talent, establishing himself as a formidable Shakespearean actor in the 1950s, with a memorable performance of Hamlet in 1964. Burton was called the natural successor to Olivier by critic and dramaturge Kenneth Tynan. An alcoholic, Burton's failure to live up to those expectations disappointed critics and colleagues and fueled his legend as a great thespian wastrel. Burton was nominated 7 times for an Academy Award without ever winning. He was a recipient of BAFTA, Golden Globe and Tony Awards for Best Actor. In the mid-1960s, Burton ascended into the ranks of the top box office stars, and by the late 1960s was one of the highest-paid actors in the world, receiving fees of $1 million or more plus a share of the gross receipts. Burton remains closely associated in the public consciousness with his second wife, actress Elizabeth Taylor. The couple's turbulent relationship was rarely out of the news. Childhood and education. Richard Burton was born Richard Walter Jenkins in the village of Pontrhydyffryn, Neath, Port Talbot, Wales. He grew up in a working-class, Welsh-speaking household, the 12th of 13 children. His father, also named Richard Walter Jenkins, was a short, robust coal miner, a 12-pints-a-day man, who sometimes went off on drinking and gambling sprees for weeks. Burton later claimed, by family telling, that he looked very much like me. That is, he was pockmarked, devious, and smiled a great deal when he was in trouble. He was, also, a man of extraordinary eloquence, tremendous passion, great violence. Burton was less than 2 years old in 1927 when his mother, Edith Maud, died on the 31st of October 1927 at age 44 after giving birth to her 13th child. His sister Cecilia and her husband Elfed took him into their Presbyterian mining family at their terraced house on Caradoc Street in Tybych, in the town of Port Talbot. While staying with Cecilia, Burton attended nearby Easton Primary School on Incline Row. Burton said later that his sister became more mother to me than any mother could have ever been. I was immensely proud of her. She felt all tragedies except her own. Burton's father would occasionally visit the homes of his grown daughters but was otherwise absent. Also important in young Burton's life was Ifor, his brother, 19 years his senior. A miner and rugby player, Ifor ruled the household with the proverbial firm hand. Whilst attending Port Talbot Grammar School, Burton showed a talent for English and Welsh literature, demonstrating an excellent memory. Though his consuming interest was sports, rugby, cricket, and table tennis, he later said, "I would rather have played for Wales at Cardiff Arms Park than Hamlet at the Old Vic." He earned pocket money by running messages, hauling horse manure, and delivering newspapers. He started to smoke at the age of 8 and drink regularly at 12. Inspired by his schoolmaster, Philip H. Burton, he excelled in school productions, his first being The Apple Cart. Philip Burton could not legally adopt young Richard due to their age difference. Burton was 1 year short of the minimum 20 years required. Richard Jenkins displayed early on an excellent speaking and singing voice, winning an Eisteddfod Prize as a boy soprano. He left school at age 16 for full-time work. He worked for the local wartime cooperative committee, handing out supplies in exchange for coupons, but then considered other professions for his future, including boxing, religion and singing. When he joined the Port Talbot Squadron of the Air Training Corps as a cadet, he re-encountered Burton, his former teacher, who was the commander. He joined a youth drama group led by Leo Lloyd, a steel worker and avid amateur thespian, who taught him the fundamentals of acting. Burton, who recognized the youth's talent, then adopted him as his ward, and Richard returned to school. Being older than most of the other boys, he was very attractive to some of the girls. Philip Burton later said, "Richard was my son to all intents and purposes. I was committed to him." Philip Burton tutored his charge intensely in school subjects, and also worked at developing the youth's acting voice. including outdoor voice drills which improved his projection. In 1943, at age 18, Richard Burton was allowed into Exeter College, Oxford, for a special term of 6 months study, made possible because he was an Air Force cadet obligated to later military service. He subsequently served in the RAF as a navigator. Burton's eyesight was too poor for him to be considered pilot material. Early acting career. In the 1940s and early 1950s, Burton worked on stage and in cinema in the United Kingdom. Before his war service with the Royal Air Force, he starred as Professor Higgins in a YMCA production of Pygmalion. He earned his first professional acting fees with radio parts for the BBC. He had made his professional acting debut in Liverpool and London, appearing in Druid's Rest, a play by Emlyn Williams. But his career was interrupted by conscription in 1944. Early on as an actor, he developed the habit of carrying around a book bag filled with novels, dictionaries, a complete Shakespeare, and books of quotations, history, and biography, and he enjoyed solving crossword puzzles. Burton could, given any line from Shakespeare's works, recite from memory the next several minutes of lines. His love of language was paramount, as he famously stated years later, with a tearful Elizabeth Taylor at his side. "The only thing in life is language. Not love, not anything else." In 1947, after his discharge from the RAF, Burton went to London to seek his fortune. He immediately signed up with a theatrical agency to make himself available for casting calls. His first film was The Last Days of Dolwen, set in a Welsh village about to be drowned to provide a reservoir. His reviews praised him for his acting fire, manly bearing, and good looks. Burton met his future wife, the young actress Sybil Williams, on the set, and they married in February 1949. They had 2 daughters, but divorced in 1963 after Burton's widely reported affair with Elizabeth Taylor. In the years of his marriage to Sybil, Burton appeared in the West End in a highly successful production of The Ladies Not for Burning, alongside Sir John Gielgud and Claire Bloom, in both the London and New York productions. He had small parts in various British films. Now Barabbas was a robber, Waterfront with Robert Newton, The Woman with No Name, and a bigger part as a smuggler in Green Grow the Rushes, a B-movie. Reviewers took notice of Burton. He has all the qualifications of a leading man that the British film industry so badly needs at this juncture. Youth, good looks, a photogenic face, obviously alert intelligence, and a trick of getting the maximum of attention with a minimum of fuss. In the 1951 season at Stratford, he gave a critically acclaimed performance and achieved stardom as Prince Hal in Shakespeare's Henry IV, Part 1 opposite Anthony Quayle's Falstaff. Philip Burton arrived at Stratford to help coach his former charge, noting in his memoir that Quayle and Richard Burton had their differences about the interpretation of the Prince Hal role. Richard Burton was already demonstrating the same independence and competitiveness as an actor that he displayed offstage in drinking, sport, or storytelling. Kenneth Tynan said of Burton's performance, "His playing of Prince Hal turned interested speculation to awe almost as soon as he started to speak. In the first intermission, local critics stood agape in the lobbies. Suddenly, Richard Burton had fulfilled his guardian's wildest hopes and was admitted to the post-war British acting circle, which included Anthony Quayle, John Gielgud, Michael Redgrave, Hugh Griffith and Paul Schofield. He even met Humphrey Bogart, a fellow hard drinker, who sang his praises back in Hollywood." Lauren Bacall recalled, "Bogey loved him. We all did. You had no alternative." Burton bought the first of many cars and celebrated by increasing his drinking. The following year, Burton signed a 5-year contract with Alexander Korda at £100 a week, launching his Hollywood career.